Hello and welcome to the first in our Why series. Now today I am going to be talking about why I can lose centimetres but the weight on the scale stays the same. Now there's a number of things that we have to consider here. So to start with, muscle takes up less space than fat. Muscle is much more lean. So I want you to imagine it like this. A ton of feathers and a ton of cast iron. Each one wouldn't take the same space up if you were, let's say, put them in a trailer. You probably wouldn't get a ton of feathers into a trailer, but you may well get a ton of cast iron into a trailer. So one has got much more surface area than the other. And that's how it works with fat. So fat has got a much bigger surface area than muscle has. So to start with, if you have lost some fat and gained some muscle, you will have lost centimetres. Now, there's another important part there. So if you have lost centimetres and gained some muscle, you may well still have the same results on the scales. And that is because muscle is denser, so weighs more, less of it, surface area, weighs more. So your scales, actually, if you are just starting exercise from scratch, your scales may well increase whilst your centimetres decrease. That is okay. There are a few more things that you need to consider also. So, for example, muscle metabolism is higher than fat metabolism. Now, it depends what you look at on the internet. There is varying conflicting pieces of advice here on the actual stats, but in general terms, here's how it is. So, talking about some basic stats, muscle burns probably 2.5 times more calories than fat does. Now, if you have got more muscle about your person, that means that your body is burning more calories whilst you're sitting there doing nothing. That is because you've got more lean muscle, so it requires more calories than fat mass does. Now, why is that good? Well, because your body has to work harder just to do what it has to do on a daily basis, which means that your calorie burning is higher whilst you're sitting at rest. What is that called? That is metabolic rate. So if you want to work out your metabolic rate, there's a rough way you can do it, and that is your weight in pounds times 10 if you're female, and your weight in pounds times 11 if you're male. Now, your resting metabolic rate is how much energy your body requires to be at rest. The other thing that affects it is whether you're male or female, and also your size. So those three things, your size, whether you're male or female, and your age, also have got a part to play, as well as how much fat mass and lean muscle mass you have, and the speed of your food processing, and that is dependent on what you eat. And finally, how much exercise you do. So as you can see, there are a number of factors that affect your metabolic rate. And that is why you can't just use this sweeping generalization that I have a slow metabolic rate, because it's not quite true. So back to the original question, why is it that I can lose centimetres but my weight on the scale stays the same? And that is because, like I say, it depends on how much fat mass and lean muscle mass you have, which affects your metabolic rate, which affects how easily your body burns your fat. And like I said before, that's also got a whole lot of other factors: your size, your age, your energy level, so how much exercise you do, and all of that affects your metabolic rate, which in turn affects your body's fat burning engine, which in turn affects how well you burn fat, so therefore your size and therefore your weight on the scales. So there's a whole number of factors going on here, and this is why we don't just take weight, we also take measurements and fitness. And all of those things are all in, as a combination, stuff that you should take into account when you're trying to measure your progress in fitness. I hope that has managed to answer the question for you, because that's a question we get asked the most, and I've put a bit of science in there to help you understand that a bit better. And if you've got any questions that you would like us to answer in the Why series, please do email us on ridingtohealth@gmail.com and title it the Why series. We're happy to take any kind of question that's fitness and health related, and we'll stick it into our schedules and answer it in subsequent weeks. Thanks for listening and watching.